after I wrote my book, well, actually right before I wrote my book, because this made one of the chapters, I was exposed to this ancient mending process that the Japanese have called kintsugi.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 7th annual Tedx Rush U event.
And I remember getting dropped off in college my first day. My parents left. I'm in a dorm room by myself. I'm starting to think, am I good enough? Do I even belong here? And this unpleasant sensation immediately came upon me like I've never felt before. Sweating and tingling. It was a horrible feeling. I know now that that was one of my first of many panic attacks. I ended up going to a bar and I drank alcohol until the symptoms went away. That would be an algorithm that I would use repeatedly for the next 30 years. I went from a hero on the baseball diamond to being the butt of a joke right out of a Woody Allen movie. You roll the clocks up 25 years, I'm the CEO of a multi-million-dollar firm. From the outside looking in, I had it all. I blew up. I blew up financially, but I also blew up physically. I was 350 pounds, which meant I was morbidly obese. 60 days into a 90-day death sentence, and they sent me this letter. They essentially accused me of drinking while I was on the transplant waiting list. By the way, the textbook definition of rehabilitation is to restore something to its prior condition. I'm kind of thinking like, that's kind of what got me in this trouble. So the bad news is, it looks like I'm going to spend the most of the rest of my life in a drug and alcohol treatment center. But the good news is, I'm finally going to meet some of these famous celebrities that I hear so much about rehab. The opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, it's connection. I heard that right here on the TED stage. What would you do if you could recreate yourself into anything, anyone, and have no regard for being judged? Because one of the few advantages of being so broken and that busted up is there's nowhere else to go but up. Step number one is the most important word in the world, in my opinion, is decisions. Step number two, if you don't have a story, let me tell you, the world will give one to you and it'll ask you to wear it like a suit. Step number three is you need to build a strategic plan. And I'm going to use the dominoes as a metaphor. This 2-inch broken domino cannot knock over this big objective. This big domino is 400 times bigger than this little domino. The little domino can't do it, but what the little domino has something called action potential. If you're this broke and you're this down and you want to be this superhero, this domino cannot knock over that. It just can't happen. It doesn't work. But what it can do, what a little 2-inch domino can do, it can knock over a 3-inch domino. Okay, and a 3-inch domino can knock over a 4.5-inch domino, and a 4.5-inch domino can knock over a 7.5, and here my math fails me. It keeps going and going and going. I could barely walk when I got my transplant, but I could drink more water. I couldn't run a marathon, but I could eat a little less. I couldn't do a lot of things, but I could move more. I could take yoga. I could start riding my bike. I could start hanging out with people, have interesting conversations. And guess what? Before you knew it, I built a plan and I have momentum going. The Romans say, in etiam demedium facti. Once you get started, you're halfway done. And then it never stops. This is the domino effect. And this is how you recreate yourself a little bit at a time. The little hinge swings the big door. A little bit at a time, create that momentum and create that superhero that you can be one at a time. Do what you can do today, what's in front of you. Do not focus on the big domino. You'll get there, just make progress, utilize your action potential. I'm gonna leave you with this. Western culture puts so much emphasis on perfection. Let me tell you, there is nothing that's perfect in this world. The world breaks everyone, and it will break you one day. The fractures and the bumps and the scars that you have on your body are the stars of your life. It's an opportunity to put it back together and recreate yourself. The Japanese have a mending process called kintsugi. It's where they take this broken pottery and they put it back together. And they put it back together with this golden lacquer. And the golden lacquer is the glue that holds back together. They don't restore the pottery back to its original condition, they recreate it. Sometimes repair requires recreation. In kintsugi, the repaired art is more valuable than the original unbroken art. Thank you.